Hello, welcome to another Dead by Daylight review. Today, we're going to be going over a couple of concepts. Nothing too huge, nothing too major. Hopefully, it's going to be short because I am very, very, very tired. So, short, sweet, almost straight to the point. Let's get it. Let's all pin chat. Got a pin chat just in case the chatters want to come out and well, chat. Gotcha. Another quick concepts. This is the first time I made a killer concept. I shared it around the server full of Dbd players and they seemed to enjoy this character, hoping the swarm will bring the same enjoyment. Well, I actually posted to the forum and don't post it into a link that somebody has to click on, and I would more than happily review it. However, since like this, I'm not going to click on the link, even though it has the huntsman.txt. It's also a fairly interestingly large file for what you're saying that is. And there's no telling what clicking on this particular link's going to do to my computer, etc., etc. It might be completely pure, but I don't click on links that are like this. So, Mora, I hope it's good. I hope it's balanced. And I hope the community likes it. And I wish you the best of days. Killers, the Dark Fantasy Collection. So I downloaded an app which creates AI generated art, and I decided to see how it would interpret each killer in the game. The results were disturbing, so warnings ahead. Nothing dodgy, but certainly dark imagery. That looks nothing like the Trapper. What did you just type in the word Trapper and it just gave you the first thing? The Wraith? I mean, yeah, it's a picture of a Wraith. Okay. You had to have typed something wrong. What's going on, Galanonim? You had to have typed something wrong for an AI generated program to take the words from the hillbilly and pop something up like this. This guy obviously influenced the AI when he was typing. There's no way an AI is going to get this from the hillbilly. Unless you texted something just god awful into the actual prompt. So this is not none of these are the AI's faults. The nurse. Not too shabby. The shape. Interesting. The hag. Um, what? So it's AI generated art. Yeah. He says this is AI generated art. And this is what he's saying that the AI generated off of the killers in Dead by Daylight. he obviously influenced this particular art when he was typing whatever it is done. Some of these look like, you know, if you typed hag or something like that, or the shape. The shape looks like something, if you just type the shape into the AI, it's something that they could possibly pop up. If you said like humanoid and then the shape. But some of these don't look anywhere near like they're supposed to look like. So he obviously put in some sort of description on some of these to make them kind of distorted. Like the doctor. If you put the doctor into something, this is nowhere near a doctor. So his description had to have been something off the wall or weird. Maybe he used the descriptions from the game, which the descriptions of the game don't go into huge detail of what the killer actually looks like. So he had to have added, you know, some extra words, or it's just going to be a vague picture on all of these. He probably used the word horror or gory or something like that as well to try to make these look as distorted as they are. Literally, killer the doctor. If that's the actual prompt that he used, the words killer and the doctor, how do you get something that isn't even a doctor? It's not even a plague doctor. It's nothing but like this shape in a coat with the hand raised. So there's more than a prompt in what he's saying. You would get something a lot better than this. The Huntress. I mean, I can see it here. I also want to know what nationality this AI generated bot was made by. Because to me, it looks like it was made by something overseas. Well, I guess I shouldn't say overseas because technically you are overseas, but something around, you know, like China, maybe Japan, somewhere around that area, or in the between there. Those are the kinds of drawing and art styles that you would commonly see around there. I mean, the cannibal is literally just a formless shape of a guy eating flesh. So, I mean, this makes sense. Um, the nightmare. I mean, yeah, it's literally just a scene of a nightmare. This one he probably should have added in more to the prompt. Though this would be the only one that he actually could add into the prompt. But I mean, he also could have just straight up typed in Freddy Krueger. Killer the pig. That looks like a turkey, but I guess I can see a pig's like face. Yeah, like a pig with like clothes on. Interesting. Killer the clown. I mean, very, very slightly you can see like the face, the hair coming out the side, and the goofy hat. Then there's a second clown here. It looks like art made on acid. Yeah, pretty much. The colons probably did something. He probably had to select some sort of art style as well. to go by, or the AI itself had a specific art style that it sticks with. So that's why all of these look like these super abstract, just LSD looking drawings. You definitely could have made these a lot closer, but you know, it is what it is. This does not look like a spirit at all. This is something that I figured I'd see if you typed in like crow artist or something like that. That's what I figured you would get from this AI thing, not spirit. Uh, that the Legion. Uh, yeah, I don't know how it manages to mess up the word Legion. So that colon probably is destroying everything. So there's extra prompts actually in this that he's just not letting us know. Killer, the plague dabbing on the haters. You look more like a plague doctor. Abstractly, of course. Here's the little head, and then the nose that comes out. Reminds me of a plague doctor. Ghost face. Not the ghost face, it's just ghost face. If you put the, you're gonna get something like this. Things like that. You can't put the in. Demogorgon, I mean, yeah, you can see his face right there, and the rest is abstract. And there's him looking to the side. With, I don't think he has a tail, though. From the side, he's looking, face. Oni? Yeah, Oni. Obviously, this is easy to see that it's an Oni because, well, how it's built and things like that. And like I said, this engine must have been made overseas, like around Asia or Japan or anything. It literally picks up the Oni designs from their particular areas. There's a little bit of abstract writing in the background, things like that. But yeah, this is definitely made overseas. Death Slinger. That would actually have been quite a cool Death Slinger. Or at least a regular killer. Somebody pop this out. Have this be like either the face or this be the hair coming out. The little squiggles. Have the face be like right here. The neck. The body. Coming out to just this huge either metal arm that sticks out. Or you can have his hand in here and this be his instrument. Whatever he uses to bop people with and or shoot or erase. You have the rest of his body, and he floats gingerly or walks gingerly, and this is the end of his cloak. If you don't make it, want to make it his arm. You got a cloak coming into a guy whose eyes there, his face, he's got his little hair. Whatever his weapon is, he holds here. Across, and here's his hand going to it. Here's his other hand coming underneath it. Man, the D&D Gorgon in D&D looks completely different. Yeah, you could even see its figure in the Stranger Thing. True. Killer, the Executioner. So just a straight up Grim Reaper. Alrighty then. Also, that looks like the pursuer from Dark Souls a little bit, but just very abstract. Not as thick. The Blight. I mean, yeah, you ain't gonna get much out of that. If you just say the Blight. What I find interesting is the fact that in the back here, the color scheme is sort of similar to the Blight's color scheme. So he had to have added something into the actual text prompt, like a description of some sort, for the AI to actually pick up a picture of it. Oh, oh, there's like a little face or something back there. I don't know. That's a Japanese style building. So, take back even China. That's definitely a Japanese style building, though. This is a Japanese engine. The twins. How many twins do you have? Also, why is there a filter here? It looked like it drew it straight, and then a filter was added here with a swirl effect, and a filter was added here with a swirl effect. So are humans able to distort the pictures in some sort of way after they're done? I don't know. That's interesting though. I'm waiting on the it's just a prank guy. I actually drew all of these. You like my artwork? The trickster. I mean, looks somewhat cool, but oh, if anybody ever wanted to make an abstract looking killer, though, this guy's got you covered. You just gotta make sure you put that everything's from Wombo order. They'll take their post down. Don't want the AI coming for copyright protection or copyright claims, even though the admins don't actually know what real copyright is. Birdface, like the artist. I could see that. It could be kind of like an artist if you use the same scalpel, or a trickster with the bird face. Ah, okay. Go with the bird face. And instead of a bat, he just uses whatever the heck that is. It looks like a scissors blade, but like turned. Admin, so you were saying it's AI art, not yours. Banned. Exactly. Exactly. Hmm. They operate from America, so they have to follow American laws. Killer, the Nemesis. Yep, nailed it. Perfect. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what that is. Jesus Christ. But in America, you cannot take anybody to court or take any legal actions against somebody unless they actually fill out a registration form about and they send it to I think it's like the Art of Congress or something like that. You have to fill out registration. They'll ask you for copies of your artwork and things like that, and then it becomes licensed and copyrighted under you. So in America, you are copyrighted, yes. If somebody uses your work and all of that, you can say, hey, stop using my stuff. But you cannot sue them or take any type of legal pursuit against them if they say, screw you, it's mine. So I don't know why people get so bent up over copyright unless it's actually copyrighted, at least art wise. Don't matter. As long as you're not trying to make a profit off of it, it's fair use. It's just kind of a dickhead move if you don't put the artist's name or the original artist's name. But if they sign their work like they're supposed to, like even, well, I guess they make you do it like that. But if the person signs their work and makes it legible on everything, then you don't have to worry about copyright complaints. You don't have to worry about giving credit to people. Put a watermark over it. If it's real, like, sign it, in the corner. Put something, an identifier somewhere letting people know that, hey, you are the artist here. We shouldn't have to credit your work. You should put something down there. You can easily put a watermark over it or another screen over it for when I scroll over it, the watermark disappears. Or when I scroll over it, the watermark appears. There's all kinds of things to mark your work to make it non-intrusive. If you don't know how to do that, put it in the bottom. Nobody really looks at the bottom portion of an artwork unless there's something there. Also, that looks like a cat face, with like a demon face, and another face. To my comments about Hook Perk was sent. Hook Perk. I do not see anything about a hook perk. Hang on. Let me check the actual stream. Hold on. Again, string bird face. No, it didn't even send to YouTube either. So now YouTube didn't pick that up. Who was this? Oh yeah, Nemesis. I guess if you look at the interaction between this thing and this thing, I guess it could be considered Nemesis. Gonna copy it. Gotcha. And the Cenobite. I mean, yeah, it's technically consists of a Cenobite. They have chains though, and piercings and all kinds of other different sets of torture devices. The only thing he's missing is the affiliation to Leviathan. That shows that he's a Cenobite. But yeah, that's a Cenobite. Killer, the artist. I can see the silhouette, but what does any of this have to do with art? Interesting. Some of these are downright incomprehensible, but the others, of the ones that are beautiful and atmospheric, this AI looks good. Pretty. You can't say that something's incomprehensible because art is the extension of your imagination. You're literally exposing yourself and saying that you have a lack of imagination. Don't expose yourself on forums. It's called a Wombo Dream, and it has various styles, but it's all abstract. So there you go. He did pick a style. It does need some interpretation for each picture to make some sense, but there's something in each where it understood the brief. It's also free to use. So, yeah. He puts in a description and he picks the style of art. Even though it's all abstract, he picked that particular style, and that's where things came from. So that was a very interesting experience. I think the closest one that I seen was literally the Cenobite, though, because it was literally just a drawing of a Cenobite. See, I can't send this message. That must be in my held messages. A bot must have picked it up. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Um, um, let's see. No, there's no comment held for review or anything. Wait, that was posted a year ago? Jesus. Now, wherever your comment's going, it ain't making it, so Google or something must have smote your comment. I would just say people still commenting on my hook perk post. I got the gist of all of them, but some I couldn't exactly make out a specific scene, with still unpleasant suggestion. I'm surprised how many bird creatures AI created. I know, right? I think that might have been the art style that he clicked, though. Looking back, though, most of these are abstract, but still show a specific thing. Definitely. They still show a specific thing to where it understood for the most part. I mean, obviously, like, the blight, it didn't get the actual killer, but it did show the blight aspect of it. But it did create a lot of bird creatures and everything like that. Um, well, I was gonna ask for a link, but you can't post links for me to see. Um, what was the name of your Hook Park post? If you just post that down, not the link, but the actual name of the post, I can find it based off of that. Galanonim. Unless it's brought back up here. No. Thank you. Ain't there. I need to slide that over. Boogadoo. again. Not here. Try it again. Not there. Actually, why don't I just click on your actual name? Why am I going out this dumb? You posted a post here recently. I can literally just I could always search the bar too. That too. I was trying not to have to move chat, but I can't do that. So, the whole purpose of this, and I remember it, is to give you time before you have to go for the save, not as you're going for the save, if I remember correctly. So do you think it's a good idea to implement something like that? Let's say after unhooking or healing other survivors, you gave them an additional buff that activates once they're on the hook. After activation, instead of a normal hook timer, an additional timer will be activated and it will last 30 seconds on the best upgrade. Whoever this is that either deleted their account or got banned, that camaraderie / kinship exists, and 15 people upvoted it because they couldn't see any type of value from this. We went over this together, I remember, because you said the timer was paused, you were not gaining additional time. This guy popped in and says, I don't see the point. Again, people aren't thinking about it. Somebody finally comes in and says, so if you're not gaining time, are you losing it? Think about that for a minute. Again, people are upvoting, people are bandwagoning, people keep going over the same thing because they don't have the brain thought process to understand what this particular perk does. And you see idiots just bandwagoning, and not thinking for themselves, which is what started that entire rant that I had, I think, the day after. Is because mediocre people, people that aren't intelligent, people that just follow other people, don't want to use their own critical thinking skills. They they skim it, they scroll down, they click, okay, group vote up. You explain it again. I was rather clear on that. It's a different effect. Pause, not additional time. It works similar, but it's not the same. Also, both these perks have different requirements. You need to unhook a survivor or heal them. You don't have to be near his hook location. I would rather use that one out of those two possibilities. Read my comment and think about it for a minute. Where I said the time is lost in the process, it's a similar effect. I'll vote that up. I thought they were talking about this perk, camaraderie / kinship. They are talking about that perk, but that's not anywhere near Galanonim's perk. It's all about the appliance time. If you're working on generators, you have to go to that survivor before, well, generally his last 60 seconds are up unless you left him on the hook near the 2-minute mark. But in his last phase, you have to go there before those last 60 seconds ends. Meaning, if you just started working on a generator, or if you're not already 20 seconds in before he gets hooked, you're not going to be able to finish a generator before you even fathom thinking about going and actually getting that unhook. Galanonim's perk pauses the timer at the beginning, so you have that additional 30 seconds before happen to make a move, as opposed to getting to that survivor in the vicinity and essentially wasting the 30 seconds that you get to actually go and unhook that particular person. So, Galanonum's interpretation of the perk and the time coming beforehand makes a lot more sense and is a lot stronger for survivors instead of having to leave a partially completed gen or sticking a generator and then running straight for the other survivor and hoping that the killer doesn't intercept you before you get that hook. Because that's where trades and things like that happen. They feel guilty about completing a generator, so they just run in, get slapped on their way in, pull the survivor off the hook, get down themselves, and then they get hooked and trade it. So, Galanonum's particular perk in this case has a lot more power and is completely different than camaraderie or kinship, to where you have to be within a vicinity of the hook, because you're losing essentially 30 seconds worth of time unless the killer is camping. I mean, it's a good time gain on a camping killer because now you know you have a 30-second timer plus whatever time they had left to try to work a plan out. But if you can complete a generator and all of that and then go, you could have the help of multiple survivors and things like that, or you can plan and do a whole bunch of other different things to try to get the survivor off the hook. Plus, nobody's under a super huge time constraint because you now have 90 seconds as opposed to 60 seconds. But nobody in this particular comment section can use their brain to think about how this particular perk applies. The only thing they can think of is, oh, it's kinship. They already made a perk called kinship. Yeah, but kinship loses you time. It makes you go for something early, and you end up wasting the 30 seconds that you get from it. And if a killer is camping, you probably aren't even going to save that person in those 30 seconds unless another survivor comes up to help. It goes from giving you additional time to get around a camping killer to a punishment for a camping killer. Also, because kinship pauses timer, killer knows when somebody is in the vicinity of that particular survivor because their bar stops moving. So, any killer that instantly wants to camp or instantly wants to know when a survivor's going for an unhook, especially if it's in the basement, as soon as that bar stops moving and pauses for a little bit, you now know, hey, I need to head back. Somebody's about to get an unhook. And I do use that whenever I rarely find somebody running kinship. I wait to see when that bar stops digressing, and then I go back and check on that hook. But anyway, we go down to Shrimpy. It's a similar effect that achieves the exact same goal of giving yourself more time on the hook. No. Again, this person is saying the same thing these people up here are saying, but in a different way. Excuse me, sir, have you heard about our Lord of Perks kinship? I know, right? And it's just funny how nobody in this forum can think 2 seconds on the differences of the perks and the usability of the perks. That I just love how 6 more people vote this up and still ain't understanding. You are not. Galanonum's perk gives you the full value of the 30 seconds on that hook. Unless you're dumb and don't use the additional hook time and you go for an instant unhook, like some survivors do, then you're wasting it. But Galanonum's perk gives you that 30 seconds every single time. You get 100% value out of that every single time if you complete the activation. Kinship, you get 100% of the value of that. Maybe once every 20 unhooks, is you'll have a camper or something like that running around, and you'll need to get, well, I wouldn't even say 100% efficiency. You're still not going to use the full 30 seconds in that case. And that's what most people are seeing. It's a similar effect that achieves the same goal of giving yourself more time on the hook. Nobody cares about the amount of time the person on the hook has. We care about the amount of efficiency you can get in generators, finding totems, things like that, if need be. Nobody cares how long you're hanging on the hook. Absolutely not. We care about finishing a generator first and being able to go for an unhook. Or being able to, get a chest before you go, or find the totem if you're on a hook with, no added effect or something like that. We want the additional time to do things and not get additional time when we're next to you and happen to go for the unhook. It don't make sense. If I wanted to find the no-ad totem, I would have to run by you to freeze your timer, and then I would have to run back out and search an area and then come back. It's not worth it. And it's so funny how many people are saying the exact same thing over and over and over, like I am now. Thing about this perk is, in the case of camping in the basement, you won't pause the timer, and if you could buy additional 30 seconds without the need of being near the hook, it would work better than camaraderie, which is now kinship. I went over this in the past. You actually can pause the timer of somebody in the basement. If you walk above the basement, it does start the pause timer. But again, you are setting yourself a finite timer of 30 seconds. If you're there, you might as well go for the unhook or engage the killer and let somebody else go down and get the unhook. That's your 30-second timer to get all of that done. So the killer already knows that, hey, you're there. Yeah, that, what is it, like 16 meters or whatever? Extends all the way, or the bubble for it extends all the way inside of the kill shack. I think it is by design. You can get it the proc outside of specific spots in the kill shack, depending on what hook they are hooked at. But if you're anywhere inside of the kill shack, as you're running by, it'll start that timer. Gentleman Fridge. Timer is paused for 10 seconds equals 10 seconds longer on the hook. Timer gains 10 seconds equals 10 seconds longer on the hook. Again, another idiot that's trying to simplify an effect that we don't care about and that we're not even looking at and still gets 5 vote ups. It's just absolutely funny to me. Only thing they're seeing is 10 seconds longer on the hook. 10 seconds longer on the hook. Like, we don't care about your hook time, brother. We don't care how much longer people are on the hook. We care about the ability to use the full 30 seconds to our advantage and not have to get there before they die and then have a 30-second extra timer to do whatever we need to do. It's time in the beginning to do things as opposed to at the end for only on the hook. And not a single person here can understand that. And it's laughable. Bubba with Insidious in the corner of his shack still is a solid counter, though. Oh, definitely. Back in the day, I used to run a doctor build. I used to hook somebody in the basement, pull out my other arm, and then just essentially drive anybody insane that goes for the unhook. Very funny. Very funny indeed. This conversation was really unlogical. It's because, I mean, in layman's terms, you were talking to a bunch of Idiots that didn't want to use their brains to actually think about the differences in the perk. It's as simple as that. People want a bandwagon. But at least after your review, I started to say face camping instead of just camping when talking about that kind of behavior. Yeah, face camping is when they are standing literally in front of the person. Like they're literally touching their avatar when they're on the hook. And then camping is just being in the area of the general hook. Base camping is against terms of service. Camping is just a regular playstyle. And then you say, well, there are many similar perks in DBD that can stack together, and I don't think stacking pausing timer with additional timer would be something game breaking. And well, yeah, in the end, it's the same result, but the thing is, you can't stack those effects because you can't stack camaraderie, right? You would have some synergy. Gosh, Josh said this shouldn't need to be a perk, but a base effect of killers being around the hook survivor while not in chase. Make the hook timer slow up to 90% based on. Oh, yeah, this dumbass. Jesus Christ. Slow up to 90% based on the killer's proximity to the hook survivor. Don't waste your time at me with the survivor abused in some obscure test years ago. This idiot. This guy is what kills me. Why would you slow hook regression rate or hook progression rate 90% based on killer's proximity? Camping Bubba in the basement should have the same fair rights as everybody else. There's a way to get around Camping Bubba in the basement. Because Camping Bubba in the basement isn't going to pip up once he gets, out of, bronze and silver and all. Well, I don't think he'll pip up in silver with only one sacrifice. If he goes, downs a player, takes them to his basement, and then hooks them and stands there all game, he's no longer going to rank up. All he gets is the small amount of chase points, the hit points, and the carry points to the basement hooks. He ain't ranking up. The new ranking system gets rid of all of that. He's not going to be an iridescent basement camping Bubba. You want to know how they get iridescent? Is when dumb survivors run down there and try to go for an unhook instead of just gen rushing the crap out of him, leaving, and getting rid of him. Or the person that's being face camped in the basement rage quits, letting him go out and get another person. You need to control your attitude, control your mind, and gain temperance. You're being camped in the basement. The other survivors should put pressure on him by gen rushing gens. And if he stays to his guns, he ain't going nowhere. And the low levels, he'll get safety pibs. If it's a high level, he'll start losing rank. Because you just can't get iridescent emblems and things by camping basement. Not anymore. Like I said, survivors are the things that make this game difficult, not the killers. The game's completely balanced, but if survivors don't use their brains to get around the killer's play method, it's a fail. If the killer don't use his brains to get around survivor play method, it's a fail. People don't understand that. They want a Call of Duty game where they can just run out, use the auto aim when they aim in, and then press the trigger. And whoever aims and presses the trigger first wins. Mediocre, unintelligent, they're dumb. They don't think, they don't use any critical thinking skills, and they bandwagon with each other. And bandwagoners believe that whoever has the most popular opinion is the correct person. That is not true. There are a lot of cases in the world where people jump on an opinion that's completely false, has no type of backing or anything like that, and they say that they are correct just because they are popular, and people do all kinds of stupid things, and they'll insult the person who's actually right, that has like two people backing them saying that, hey, logically this actually is right. It happens in psychology and all of that a lot of times too. Common misconceptions that the general public believe in, we have to try to disprove. And it's hard to disprove because, well, my mom and my friend and all of this, and I searched on Google and it says that this is true and everything else. And they go on these just long rants about how I'm an idiot and all of this. And then I go to the actual website, government official website, pull that up, look, show it to them, and tell them to get the fuck out of my office, or to just, well, literally end call. It's like, yeah, you're wrong. This session's over. I'm charging you, by the way. Click. Gone. But you said camping is a problem. That's why something like this would be nice, no matter how it would be implemented. No matter how people will call camping a strategy, it's no fun to play a game like this. Well, again, that is your personal opinion. Because I love when people camp, whether it's me getting camped or somebody else getting camped. Because that just means that I can go and I can do my challenges. I can get additional points and I can get those double pip rank ups because I don't have to worry about a killer being up my butt. I use those times to get blood points, things like that. And then at the end of the game, you get to have this kind of showdown with the killer if all the other survivors are behind you, to where you guys are just taking hits, using borrowed time and other perks like that to save the last survivor. And then when we get to the exit gate, that's when you can show butt, teabag, say, ha, we got you, and then leave the match. But again, people are mad about survivors teabagging at the exit gates and taunting them and things like that. That's gonna happen. Anytime there's competition, people's gonna talk smack. Like it's gonna happen. So, you know, everybody does it at one point in time. Even the ones that say, well, I just generally leave when the exit gates are open. Yeah. The people that generally leave generally are the scumbags because they don't stay and support their team and take the hit and taunt the killer to make them come over to you. If everybody leaves and there's two survivors out in the field, you could have been taking aggro on the killer while those two escaped or did whatever they needed to do, but instead you're immediately running out of the match. And you think you're doing a good thing, but the people that stay are actually the better players. Because they're at least making the killer go out of his way to force them out. If not, they can just run back in and grab a particular survivor that's hooked, and then they can all escape together. Perhaps I talk from bad experience, but I somehow love to lose to a killer that outplayed me, and when face camping kills me, it's kind of depressing, not gonna lie. I mean, it's all about, play style. Because, I mean, the killer does have to outplay you at one point in time before you end up getting camping. Now, face camping is a different story, because like face camping is against terms of service. That's a reportable offense, and that person should be warned and banned. I don't agree with face camping. But if a killer is, patrolling around and keeping an eye on the hook that the survivor's hooked on, I mean, it's all fair game to me. I mean, it's just another thing to get through. But I mean, I kind of like anything that isn't me just holding a button on a generator. I would rather be on a hook to where I can look at my phone or do some other things than holding a button down on a generator. That most times I'm the one that has to do the generators, and my teammates are running around with killer and doing all kinds of other things. So I end up having to do like 3 generators in a row out of most matches. And I'm just like, please, guys, do generators. We could have been out of here like 2 minutes ago. We could have been on our way. Instead, all of you guys are messing with the killers, hiding in lockers, walking around. Then you get to the higher level lobbies, and it's just essentially scripted play. Whoever's the best runner goes to the killer. They run them most of the match. You do generators. If they go down, you save them, heal them up, they run them again. It's just kind of a script. When a face camper, I wonder if a face camper was banned though for their abuse. Any face camper, but since many cheater gets away with their stuff, I doubt so. When it comes to behavior, you cannot just report them in game. Reporting them in game, they will not take any action and actually ban the person unless they get multiple reports. Then they will hop in, see what the person's doing, and if they're actually face camping when they do their review, they will get banned. So it takes multiple reports, like it takes multiple reports to get OSHA down to check out a factory. It takes multiple reports in a row of them saying, oh, he's face camping me, he's face camping me, he's face camping me. Then behavior says, okay, this guy has like 5 reports from different lobbies. We need to check this out. The only number one surefire way to get somebody banned is you have to have a video recording. You have to go to a particular website. I have it in my tools somewhere saved. You have to submit your recording to that website with a description on, face camping and things like that. You also have to obviously get the killer's name, etc., etc., and then behavior will immediately take action. Well, after reviewing it, they'll take action, which generally takes, 1 to 2 days. So if you're not going all the way throughout, because I mean, you got to understand, Dead by Daylight's a very toxic community. People get reports, multiple reports on them just for playing good. They don't have the staff to repeatedly go to every single report. So they wait until reports start lining up, and then they check the person out. And if they check the person out and they're just a good player, and there's not really any proof of them cheating, they kind of just flush the reports. And if it pops up again that he's cheating, they kind of ignore. So if he starts cheating afterwards, he's probably going to get away with it. Or if he's nonchalantly cheating. All of this definitely could be fixed if they updated their anti-cheat and switched over to the better anti-cheat that'd pick all of that up from the start. But, heck, they could have even programmed it. You're standing too close to killer. Game will end in X amount of seconds if you know. Or you will be stunned and killer will be released in X amount of seconds. If they just put a timer or something up there. Definitely don't reset the timer, but sometimes you need to get close to to a survivor, because if a survivor goes for an unhook and you grab them or go for the grab, you don't want something wonky to happen there either. But there's definitely ways to go about going around all of the face camping incidents and cheating incidents, but again, there is a website that is readily available that if you have footage of somebody cheating, you can easily send it to that website and they will be dealt with. Broken Soul says, haha, everything about this post, nopers. In reply to Gosh Josh. Definitely. Yeah. This guy's an idiot. Gosh Josh is straight up idiot. Well, if you already knew it was broken when we tested it, why even bring it up? Exactly. Josh says, it's don't think it's broken at all, and I never got to be part of such a test. Something has to be done about camping without penalty. Who is this we? Are you with behavior? No, nothing needs to be done about camping. Camping doesn't need a penalty. Camping is a play style. If the killer elects to stay with the survivor in the general area of that survivor on a hook, they are giving up free gen time in exchange for making sure that this survivor goes down a state or two or gets that particular sacrifice. It's a strategy. If you don't like all the different strategies a game has, then you might want to try a different game. Like Nuketown Call of Duty, camping the spawns to get kills is a strategy. It's a small map. What do you expect? Rust back in the day. Camping spawns is going to happen. You're going to spawn up and immediately die. But people love the map. It's part of the map. It's part of the strategy. It's part of the game. It's going to happen. Now, they switched to dynamic spawns nowadays, so you can spawn particularly anywhere to make it a little bit safer on you. But I mean, you're still in it. Dead by Daylight. If a killer decides that they want to stick around your particular hook for whatever reason, whether you are a very good looper and they need you gone because you've put way too much pressure on them and you've essentially freaked them out, which is one of the things of being a too good of a runner. If you run me around for 3 generators to pop, when I get you on the hook, I don't want to do that again. I'm not just going to hook you and then walk away and let another survivor get you so you can run me the last 2 generators. No, that's stupid. I'm going to at least make sure I get that sacrifice by chasing away anybody else. Not going to face camp you, but I'm going to stay in the area where I can slap any survivor running to you, and or if I'm using Ghostface, I'm going to mark you. And I'm going to down the survivor that came to help you, and then I'm going to immediately, before you can get any leeway, down you again. And if I get 2 downs there, guess what? You going back up on the hook, and your friend could just stay there slugged and think about what he's done. I just saved myself whatever excess time to get to the next stage, or I just ended you. Once he's gone, then we focus back on the game. Because you ain't going to get any type of victories with this guy constantly getting in the way. And I don't do that every time. I do that to people that like to run around with flashlights, and anytime you're facing another or running after another survivor, they're the ones that run in front of you like, hey, chase me. Hey, chase me. Hey, I'm going to body block you. I'm not going to let you complete your chase. I'm like, okay, if you want my attention, you get my attention. I'm going to knock you down. I'm going to hook you, and I'm going to send you on your way. Because it's not fun for me trying to actually play the game and chase other survivors and keep pressure on generators when some bumpkin like you keeps cutting in front of me, keeps flashlighting me, keeps slamming pallets on me, keeps getting in my way as I'm going after other chasers. So, in some cases, you do it to yourself. And then they want to get mad. You're trash at the game. You had to camp me. Like, yeah, I'm not trash at the game. I can assure you that. But yeah, I did camp you. You put a lot of heat on me. You kept getting in the way when I tried to do things, etc., etc. So, see ya. See ya. Get out of my game. Stop interfering with me. Then I go back to chasing the other survivors and we end up having a good time. But I'm not going to be that killer that just ignores the guy that's bullying or trying to bully me all game. Like, no, I'm going to get you out of the way. I wasn't sure if trolling or serious, had a major headache, but he is. Right, buff, nerf, or something. Don't know what this means. Try speaking in full sentences next time. I remember when I did reverse campaign or camp as Bubba. I made them think I gonna stay under a hook. Then I rushed to other survivor. He couldn't process what happened. I just straight up steamrolled, just ran him through. Oh my. This is honestly the best statement of DBD forums in 2021. Thank you. Yeah, but the timer is paused. You are not gaining additional time. You're another idiot. Literally, you are saying exactly how it is. You are pausing the timer. 30 seconds isn't being added to the actual time. And people can't think about the differences in uses. The timer is paused from the beginning. So from the beginning, all the way to the time that survivor gets thrown out, you will have a full 90 seconds to get that done. Not a 60-second timer to get to them on their last phase, of course. And then additional time added in once you get close. Like, no, you always have that 90-second timer. And dummies like this just don't understand. And they keep bandwagoning and keep trying to bully you when you're actually right here. And I just find it hilarious how a bunch of people, again, the popular opinion versus the popular upvoted and bandwagon opinion versus the correct opinion. Two completely different things. And just the amount of just idiots that keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over is what drives me crazy. I was part of a post where I made a statement and then people just kept saying the same statement to try to counteract me in different ways. And I'm like, I understood this. I understood this the first 8 people that said it. You were still wrong. Only if killers get a similar perk, giving survivors less time on the hook. They already have a similar perk that gives survivors less time on hook. It works on basement hooks. Stupid. Another stupid response. You don't even know the game. Goes on basement hooks. Use the perk. I don't recommend it because you have to get somebody down in basement, but Basement Bubba, that's his jam. He can get rid of people faster, which gives him more time to chase. Both are a bad idea, given the killer's perks, or giving the killer a similar perk to give survivors less time. Obviously a bad idea. He pulls it out. There you go. Monster Shrine exists. Bam. There's a vote up for you. Because that guy's an idiot. He's a bandwagoner. He did no research. He didn't think on his own. He's just throwing out a dumb comment. Get smoked. Gentleman Fridge. I was serious about my post. No, you wasn't. I wasn't sure if trolling or serious. Had a major headache. But he is right. Buff nerf or something. You were not serious in your post. Get out of here. I was serious about my post. Pausing the timer for 10 seconds has the exact same result as adding 10 seconds to the timer. That's literally all I said. It doesn't in context. If you really pull it apart and take it, I mean, word for word like that, yes, you're technically correct, but you're wrong in your insertion into this context. You're not understanding the context, so your statement is useless. It's like somebody doing a math equation or a quadratic equation and all of that, and you're like, well, 2 plus 2 is 4. That has nothing to do with the quadratic equation. Look at the equation in front of you. Don't just say random crap. redundant, useless, dumb, negligible. Keep it in your brain. Stop talking. Muck, haha, not you, is referencing to your quotation of the op, since he does not believe that pausing for 10 seconds is not equal to adding 10 seconds to the timer. Not in the context that you dummies are talking about. We're talking about context. You're talking about, they're still talking about the survivor and their benefits for the hook survivor. Nobody cares about the benefits of the hook survivor. They're hooked. I'm just like, holy cow. And it just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. All of you guys, quit being idiots. Stop applying this to the hook survivor. If you look at the perk and everything else, it has nothing to do with the survivor being hooked. Well, I mean, it does have to do with the survivor being hooked, but it has nothing to do with benefiting the survivor who's getting hooked. The survivor's getting hooked is on a hook. That's the end of that. It's a perk for the benefit of the other survivors that are still in the map. And I can't believe nobody can just make that difference. If they made the difference and said, okay, I see the differences of the perk, but I don't agree with it, I would respect your opinion. But saying something stupid like this just makes me want to just stick my hand through the screen and just slap some people silly. Because that's, wow. Bro, camaraderie should just, well, it's kinship now, but camaraderie should just be changed to give an extra 20 to 30 seconds on each hook state. That is stupid. You are essentially giving the survivor a third hook state. Or have it allow you to give teammates extra time on the hook after being within 16 meters reverse of its current effect. What are you talking about? The current version is only used by SWF, so it's terrible for solo queue, where it's really neat. Is this guy stupid? Camaraderie has been canceled. Kinship is the new thing, and it already does that. He's even stupider. I'm just gonna ignore him. I explained myself multiple times, yet you still fail at the understanding. Instead of acting thoughtlessly, think for a second. I showed it that pausing for 10 seconds and adding 10 seconds is equal, however, it's not the same effect. As well as those perks having different requirements. I'm generally impressed so many people end with the wrong conclusion. It's like you're trying your best to shame the originator of the idea, instead of trying to initiate a discussion with them. It seems the second thing is much harder to execute than I thought. Because they are mediocre, brain dead bandwagoners. Nobody's ever going to read the post. They're just going to go through, well, they're going to read the post, but nobody's going to try to understand the post. They're going to look at it. They're going to scroll down. They're going to find somebody who thinking what they're officially thinking about. First thought that pops in their head is kinship. And they're going to go down. They're going to hit the vote up button. And then you have the smug guys that think they're doing something. Yeah, sorry for my bean-sized brain. No, you have no brain. Zero brain. Zombies have more brain than you. You have zero brain. You've gone out, you said unnecessary things, you've done unnecessary actions, and you think this is a joke. When somebody's actually trying to explain something to you. You're a scumbag. You're a smuck. There you go. Please explain to me the difference between adding or pausing for 10 seconds. And then he still, even when trying to pseudo joke apologize, still pops up the same wrong response. It has nothing to do with adding or pausing, and it's not even 10 seconds. It's got nothing to do with that. That's not where the perk gives its value. Shut the hell up over the adding and pausing for 10 seconds and listen for once. And nobody got time to keep telling you the same damn thing over and over. Drop all of that adding and pausing things and just listen to an explanation about the goddamn perk. That said, I wish I had all of these people into a group because I would consecutively clap every single one of them. Because that's what they need is a good clapping. Both aspects of the word. They need a good clapping. You are truly testing my patience, mate. I already told you there is no difference between it when we are talking about the time we have gained in the process. But still, this is a different effect. Here's a comparison. You have to go to a certain destination. You can either run there on your own legs or take a kick scooter. Both methods will move at a similar speed, but let's say it will be exactly the same. You can go to your destination in 10 minutes by running there, or you can take a kick scooter, and also you will end up at the destination in 2 minutes. In the end, it's the same time, but a different travel method. In the case of my perk, you will also end up with the same time, but via a different method. Added time instead of pausing. So I say it once again, there is no difference in the end if we are talking about time. You'll end up with the same amount of spared time, but via different methods. The thing that would be more important is the requirement that would trigger this effect. You ain't gonna ever get that guy to understand with an explanation like that. The only way that you could get him to semi-understand is go straight for the throat of the issue and explain the usability. Because he's just gonna go on the same thing over and over and over and over. Dummies don't learn. It literally just went down the route that I said, just straight to the throat. Kinship, you have 60 seconds to get to that survivor, which is generally, not even enough to do a generator if you just started it. But you have 60 seconds to get to that survivor. As soon as you get to that survivor, you have to go essentially for the unhook because you get 30 additional seconds to go, or of the pause, kinship timer to unhook that particular survivor. So in the end, most unhooks via kinship is going to waste majority of that 30 seconds. If there is a killer there that initiates a chase with you or anything like that, that's where kinship gets its powered from. If you have a camping killer or something like that. Or if you're on the brink of about to be getting sacrificed and a survivor, shows up, they can keep you from being sacrificed. Kinship's power comes from the ability to pause a timer or extend an unhooking process if there is a killer there. Your perk gives you the option of doing more things out on the field, aka more gen time, more totem time, more chest opening time, more action time, more time to set up a strategy and get all the survivors together if the killer is camping, or for all of the survivors to hop on gens, couple of gens and get 2 gens done, etc., etc. It punishes the killer by adding in extra time at the beginning. You will get that full 30 seconds every single time to do whatever you need to do, whether it's to finish a generator, whether it's to do, heals, to get heal ups, things like that, to be prepared for the saving of the other survivor. Your part is about the beginning. Kinship is about the unhooking process. And if you guys decide, screw it, I don't want to save the survivor down there, he's in basement with Bubba, it's not a good idea, you now have an extra 30 seconds of time that Bubba's going to be standing there camping that hook, which would allow you to get a lot of things done. It's 90 seconds. In 90 seconds, If two survivors are working on the same generator, that's two gens popped. So that's the last two gens of the game that can be essentially popped by the time that survivor dies in their last state. Or if all the survivors are working on different generators, you could get most of the generators popped and be down to the last couple, which is a very strong, effective gen rush strategy that's anti-camping. Kinship, somebody has to go down there, which means they're taking time off the gen, time to actually run to the particular basement, run across that to pause that timer for 30 seconds. They then have to turn around, find the generator, and run to it, then start working on it. And that time that that person's running around could have been spent on a particular generator. Highly efficient when it comes to things like that. But people can't see the differences of efficiency between the two perks, and that's what pisses me off beyond anything, is nobody not working their brains. I think camaraderie slash kinship could be reworked like deliverance. Why would you ever try to rework a perk that extends time on the hook to a perk that you can just jump off of the hook? That is dumb. Unhook safely a survivor, then you get 30 seconds on your first hook timer. What do you think? At least it could be usable in solo queue. That's not what Deliverance does. Deliverance is a free hook, but I think you get the broken status effect for a while or something in exchange for that free off. What? What? I guess he's talking about the unhook safely a survivor portion of that, not necessarily the you get off the hook portion of that. Because that's the activation for Deliverance, but Deliverance has nothing to do with this. Instead of just saying to rework it like Deliverance, just say add the activation of unhook a survivor safely, or safely unhook a survivor. That's it. It was already usable in solo queue, but sure. I actually liked it, not gonna lie. I would finally be interested in kinship. I mean, we all agree kinship needs to be reworked. Yeah, it gives you 30 seconds of extra pause timer, but you're not going to use that extra timer unless somebody's camping. Then at that time, you're going to be stuck waiting for somebody else to come over and approach too to help you get past this killer. And you only got 30 seconds to do that. Hello, bots. I would be fine with that rework. I mentioned in this post before that in this way, it could be easier for survivors to counter a face camper if they didn't have to be near the hook survivor. Exactly. 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 Oh, there's a page 2. We continue this. That perk doesn't really excite you. You can perk so many stronger and funnier to play perks. True. I know this fellow was banned, but I have to laugh at their reasoning. I did not get to abuse it, so it should be brought back. Also, I don't think it's abusable mostly, so I can abuse it. What? Oh, was Gosh Josh banned? If they did, good job, behavior mods. You actually did something good. I still see his name, so he. No, this is another person. I don't know who this is in the first comment that got banned because I could see Gosh Josh's post here. Oh, he did get banned. I didn't even notice. the thing over him. He did get banned. That is what you get. And I hope they pick up more people that's like that, because detritus like him shouldn't be gunking up other people's things, and he shouldn't be running his mouth and popping off like this. Gritty, if you're still watching, this is why when you go too far, I always try and correct you. As you will get banned going in and going ham off of somebody like you usually do. They will ban you. All they have to do is report you and say that they were offended by your words or something like that. They will straight up ban you. You have to be very careful about what you say to some of the snowflakes and sensitive people in this particular form. This is why when I'm going ham on them on my YouTube channel, I don't post the comments that I'm saying in their particular form. Or if I do, I keep it short, sweet, and most of the time as professional as possible. Or I tell them to rework or just to trash it and restart the concept in a very highly constructive criticism way. So, Critty, be very careful when you're going ham on people, because I would hate to see you banned, but I'd love to see you leave. That don't, though. No, I'm joking. But no, seriously, be careful. That can end up being you. Did they move you to feedback and suggestions? Interesting. Well, that's... Hmm. They straight up just ghosted your particular perk, I guess, because people were active on it a lot. And then they had to ban somebody off of it, so they probably did move it to feedback and suggestions. Speaking of, suggesting idea perks for killers and survivors. Why ain't they ghosting this person's perk to that particular forum? Just said, if you're gonna do it once, they need to start staying consistent. If you want to be a moderator, you have to stay consistent in the things that you are moderating. Same with content creation and things like that. You have to stay consistent in what you do. If you don't, people are going to be like, oh, you're fake, or you're two-faced, or you're this, or you're that. And they're not going to respect you. This is why you have all of these authority figures that don't actually have authority, that run around trying to, actually do the right thing, and people are just like, yeah, whatever, buddy. Whatever. But have you heard of the next DLC? Yeah, I seen the Ringu trailer when it popped. I I'm gonna leave my comments of what I think about it. It's just going to be interesting how they take this particular killer and how they implement them into their game. That's all I'm gonna say. It'll be very interesting seeing how this turns out. Do you think there will be 7 days matches? Oh, matches would take 7 days? Or are you talking about the wow, my mind just went blank. You're talking real time. Okay. Honestly, I that's a running joke. It actually is. matching taking a long time. I think when this particular killer, it's the public test beta, they're going to have a cool effect because, hey, it's a new killer, but it's going to really, really get old for one side of the equation, is what I see happening. Because, like, even facing the artist and things like that, and most of the new killers that they have brought out here recently, people playing them very low, extremely low. And the more characters that they bring out, you know, Pinhead, Chatter, Artist, you know, the more newer killers that they're bringing out that are super unique, just it's just not making the cut. It's not making the cut. Pinhead severely got nerfed when they removed his voice lines and things like that. That was kind of the meme, the joke, you know, the crux of everything. When they removed his voice line, they didn't add anything in, they didn't make it any more interesting or anything like that. So, I mean, for them to top the killers that they already have, I mean, you know, Death Slinger came in. Used very rarely. Doodoo. The twins came in. Used more than the other ones, but not really that often. But it has a little bit of playability because you have two separate entities. So that was kind of a partial success, but that's due to a new mechanic being entered into the game. And you have Nemesis that came in. Now, Nemesis is played because he has minions that run through the map. He has a very strong ranged attack. And it has, again, new game mechanics added to the particular map. Nemesis was kind of a pseudo banger, but I mean, the popularity of the Resident Evil franchise is what carried Nemesis. If Resident Evil wasn't popular, you weren't gonna get much. Because you could run a Huntress and do essentially the same things as Nemesis does, with range attacks and things like that. Nemesis's hitbox is still broke as all can be. He can hit you from about 100 yards away, and they still ain't fixed that. So there's the issue with that as well. Nemesis brought in decent perks and things like that, but I mean, again, he coasted off of his popularity. People are still running around as Leon and things like that, even though his perks are for the most part doo-doo. Unless you're running up against low levels, his perks are doo-doo. So that's a popularity coast. And then you have artists and things like that coming in where people rarely play them anymore. You know, oh, it's cool running them in public test beta, but afterwards, you know, nah, I ain't gonna play. I'm not gonna spend my money on her. Definitely not. And every other killer that they bring out, you know, yeah, the killer's decent, you know, it's kind of a breath of fresh air during public test beta to keep us motivated to keep playing and making content, but I'm not spending money on that. You give it to me for free, you know, I'll run it on an off day or if I get bored, but I ain't paying for that content. Absolutely not. The killer's not that good. It's not that fun, not that engaging. But every other killer that they come out with, or the majority of killers that they come out with, end up having that particular problem. So that is. That's what happens. That is what happens. So no, they're literally from the ring. They're trying to coast off a horror movie that has a bunch of effects. Unless they step up their game and completely wow the fan base, they're running out of chances to implement good killers. They also are now implementing killers fast, or faster, I should say. However, it's still not good enough. If you want to keep releasing crap killers, fine, but release more of them. Come to the creations forum, try my alternative killers route, and then, or use at least the base idea of it, and then make killers that run like, main killers and other killers in the game, and then feature it using your own token system to where you get the ability to play these alternative killers while you're leveling up your main. Try these different methods out, and if people don't particularly like it, make it to where you get, like 3 totems per 50 levels or something. Then when you prestige up, I guess the first time through leveling up, you'll get like 3 tokens the first prestige. Second prestige, 4 tokens. The fifth prestige, the third prestige, you'll get 5 tokens. And then every like 10 levels that you add to your blood web after you've maxed it out for the last time, you get a token added in. So you're not going to be seeing these special killers all the time. You'll just see them every once in a while when people earn them, as opposed to, having a killer that's readily available. Flashbang is actually pretty fun to use and can have its moments, but yeah, good killers counter it many times. Flashbang has the same use as potentially a flashlight. You have to catch the killer in an animation. You can catch them in animations, like you see the troll videos online where they get the head-on rush to the flashbang and start bullying the killer. It has good uses when you can force it, but if the killer is actually in control of their own body, it's useless. It's better than it was in public test beta, I will give them that much, but it is still pretty bad. Yeah, I've already done this. It's been almost an hour and 40 minutes. It's also kind of later into the day because I stayed up a little late last night. Then I was woken up and I went back to bed and was woken up and went back to bed, and I got like these pseudo like 10-minute naps all the way till I got on today. Thank you anybody for stopping by. Pretty Galanonim, anybody else that watches this particular video and or my content. I appreciate you, but I think I am done for the day. So, as always, be cool, be kind. Always, always, always give credit to the original artist of any post. Supplement your lifestyle and have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever it is. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.